This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Place to Be Nation Pop Experience. Welcome to today's edition of the movie review of the day. I am Andy Atherton back here with you on a Friday, closing out another fun week. And for today's edition, I am going back to 2001 to talk about the movie Pearl Harbor. Finding it's kind of fitting because, yes, I know Pearl Harbor is in December, but tomorrow is the 4th of July, the 250th birthday of this country. So I thought I'd do a film that is a patriotic film in its nature. So, the logline for this movie is a tale of war and romance mixed in with history. The story follows two lifelong friends and a beautiful nurse who are caught up in the horror of an infamous Sunday morning in 1941. It was directed by Michael Bay, kind of not an early Michael Bay, but it was really a showcase for him. It stars Ben Affleck, Kate Beckinsale, Josh Hartnett, William Lee Scott, Alec Baldwin, Jamie King, Jennifer Garner, Catherine Kellner, John Voight, Cuba Gooding Jr., Mako, a few other really fine actors. I like this movie. I thought a lot of, Michael Bay, his strength is in the visuals. Storytelling, not as much, but it's kind of a fictionalized version of the attack on Pearl Harbor because it really is about the love triangle that surrounds Rafe and Danny, along with Evelyn, right? That's her name. Yeah, Lieutenant Evelyn Johnson is Kate Beckinsale's character. I think this is a very well acted movie. It did well. It grossed $59 million its opening weekend and $449.2 million worldwide. It was the sixth highest grossing film of 2001. But it generally got negative reviews for acting, the script, the length. It was a very long movie, and some historical inaccuracies. But the visual effects, action sequences, and musical scores were both were all pretty praised. So it was nominated for 4 Oscars and 1 for Best Sound Editing, but also nominated for 6 Golden Raspberry Awards, including Worst Picture. It's kind of like here's the thing, and that I feel about like when they do these movies that are based on real events. It's not a documentary. So I can, if the rest of the movie is good enough, I can forgive historical inaccuracies. That doesn't take me out. And sometimes maybe you just don't know like all maybe you just don't know all the facts that happen, but in a bubble in itself, I do enjoy, these historical movies that are kind of taken that, and they take a little liberties, which is fine. I mean, I think you'd have to really frame it differently to get people to engage. I mean, look, it's supposed to be like an entertainment night out. You can see Pearl Harbor on loads of different places. You can learn all about it. And a little shout out plug for the World War II with Tom Hanks. That's airing right now on the History Channel. I am really enjoying it personally because of, just because of the storytelling. It's very well paced. And if you want to know more about what actually happened at Pearl Harbor and not, have a love triangle be the focus, I would go watch that. But I would recommend this movie. I'm not sure if it's streaming anywhere. I'd have to look that up. But the movie actually starts off in 1923. With best friends Rafe McCauley and Danny Walker playing together on the back of a biplane owned by Rafe's father in Tennessee. And they grow up to be, by 1941, our first lieutenants in the Air Force under the command of Major Jimmy Doolittle, who's a real person. He was a war hero, probably one of the greatest pilots in the history of the country. He had won the Medal of Honor. And he made early coast-to-coast flights. He broke speed records, flying races. Yeah, he's probably one of the biggest, greatest pilots in the history of our country. So then the U.S. at this point in the movie, though, the U.S. has not entered the World War II yet, so Rafe volunteers for the Eagle Squadron, an RAF unit for American volunteer pilots during the Battle of Britain. Nurse Evelyn Johnson signs off on Rafe's medical exam despite his dyslexia, and they start a relationship. 4 weeks later, Rafe and Evelyn, now deeply in love, enjoy an evening dancing in a nightclub and later jaunt to New York Harbor in a borrowed police boat. Rafe shouts at Evelyn, saying that he has joined the Eagle Squadron, is leaving the next day. During a mission to intercept a Luftwaffe bombing raid, Rafe is shot down over the English Channel and presumed killed in action. Danny and Evelyn mourn Rafe's death together, which spurs a new romance between them. I'm like, oh, my best friend's dead, so now let's get together, right? I mean, I had an issue with that. So then, and then on December 6th, Evelyn is shocked to discover Rafe standing outside her door, having survived his drowning and the ensuing months trapped in Nazi-occupied France. He in turn discovers Danny's romance with Evelyn and leaves for the hula bar, where he's welcomed back by his fellow pirates. Danny finds Rafe in a drunken state in the bar, intends on reconciling, but they get into a fight. They drive away, avoiding being put in a brig when the military police arrive. They both fall asleep in Danny's car, and the next morning is December 7th, that infamous day where the Imperial Japanese Navy attacks Pearl Harbor. And this is, there are scenes in some of these war films that are very harrowing and can be very somewhat realistic. And they, what should we call it? They could do something to you. I remember Saving Private Ryan when they stormed the beach. It did disturb veterans. And then in this one, there are a lot of sad parts because a lot of men lost their lives that day, and they're severely damaged during the U.S. Pacific Fleet is severely damaged during the surprise attack. I mean, there are scenes of similar to Titanic or other movies where people get trapped in a ship going down, and despite their best efforts, they're ultimately going to their demise. And this whole their whole Rafe and Danny's whole squad kind of assemble, and they take off. Rafe and Danny take off in P-40 fighter planes and shoot down several attacking Zeros. Zeros are Mitsubishi AM-6M, which is a long-range carrier-capable fighter aircraft that Japan used in the war. And then they later assist with the rescue of the crew of the captured USS Oklahoma, but they're too late to save the crew of the USS Arizona. The next day, FDR delivers his famous Day of Infamy speech and requests that U.S. Congress declare war on the Empire of Japan. Danny and Rafe are assigned to travel to the U.S. with Doolittle. Before they leave, Evelyn reveals to Rafe that she's pregnant with Danny's child. Evelyn reassures Rafe that she loved him in the past and will love him her whole life, but she's ready to give Danny her whole heart and have a family together. So then Danny and Rafe receive promotions to captain and silver stars for the actions at Pearl Harbor, and they volunteer for a secret mission organized by Jimmy Doolittle. They spend 3 months training with other pilots for ultra-short takeoffs with a specially modified B-25 Mitchell bombers. In April, the group departs from the USS Hornet and their mission to bomb Tokyo is revealed. And this is one of those very ultra kind of realistic feeling scenes. And the mission is successful, but Rafe and Danny's planes, they both run out of fuel and crash in Japanese-occupied China. Danny is mortally wounded in a gunfight with a Japanese soldier before the group is rescued by Chinese troops. Rafe tearfully reveals to Danny, "You're going to be a father," and with his last breath, Danny replies, "No, you are." A very sad scene is when, they return and you see Rafe come off the plane, but then Danny is in a coffin with a American flag on it, and Rafe and Evelyn marry after the war and visit Danny's grave where Evelyn's son named Danny after his biological father. Rafe then takes his family flying into the sunset in Rafe's father's old biplane. So I think it's a very good movie. It's one of those movies too, how I feel like similar to Titanic, like the love story is what it is, right? I love period pieces. I love when it's accurate, when I'm more about, not necessarily the facts, but I'm more about like the sets, the people, all that stuff. And I really do enjoy that part of the movie. Michael Bay is not one of my favorites, but I think he does a decent enough job in this movie where he does show some restraint. I think the action scenes are great in this movie. And again, you do get some emotional response. So on this very important day for our country coming up, I think this is one of the moments that made us. Pearl Harbor was a dark day, but how we came back from that tragedy says something. And if we hadn't shown that resilience, we may not all be here or speaking English or what have you. So I think it's something that should be remembered. Okay, so that brings me into this week. Please don't forget to check out everything else we got going on here on the PlayStation Pop Experience. We have long-form shows. We have the Video Jukebox Song of the Day, which drops every weekday at 8 a.m. We have this series that drops every weekday at 3 p.m. Next week, we have a theme week with the new live-action Moana coming out very soon, in about a week. We are dedicating next week to 5 other live-action remakes, movies that were once made as animated films, and then they made a live-action version of them. So we are going to check those out and bring those to reviews to you, and then come back right after the theme week, and we will have reviews of Moana and the new movie, the latest in the Despicable Me universe, Minions and Monsters. So that should be a lot of fun. Also, please don't forget to support our friends at the Place to Be Nation Wrestling Network, the Backbone Wrestling Network, and the North-South Connection, all with podcast feeds and YouTube channels. All right, so hope you all have a great weekend. Happy 4th of July. Be safe. Have fun. Happy birthday, America. And we'll see you back here on Monday. Take care.